Now I'd like to make a story about Hazrat Moeen-Ud-Deen Haddi Naqshband, a great wali who was buried in Srinagar in Kashmir, in Jammu in Kashmir, the Indian part of Kashmir, and who himself was a descendant of Shah Naqshband and the Grand Master or the Qutb of the Naqshbandi Sufi order, the highest saint. Khwaja Moeen-Ud-Deen Haddi Naqshband had been the son of Khwaja Mahmud. Khwaja Mahmud was a descendant of Shah Naqshband in the 7th generation and the promised successor whom Shah Naqshband and Alauddin Atar have prophesied. Khwaja Moeen-Ud-Deen Haddi Naqshband has been born in the Qasr Arafan in Bukhara, when his father was there to meditate and train himself spiritually, and then Khwaja Moeen-Ud-Deen Haddi Naqshband has been grown up there. Having been grown up as disciple of his father, he has learned the Quran and the Sunnah and the various fundamentals of fiqh and hadith, and has also memorized the Quran under the guidance of his blessed father, and also got instructed in the initiation as a Sufi saint. He has even been a wali as a Sufi as a young child because of the teachings and the blessings of his beloved father, and then has further studied under the very popular muhaddith called Muhaddith Abdul Haq al-Dahlawi. Muhaddith Abdul Haq al-Dahlawi was one of the most prominent hadith scholars in his time, and he has given the authorization to Khwaja Moeen-Ud-Deen Haddi Naqshband to also call himself Muhaddith, which needs to memorize various hadith and the chains to Prophet Muhammad in this time. Khwaja Moeen-Ud-Deen Haddi Naqshband has followed his father when he immigrated to Kashmir to establish his khanqa over there. He has supported his father, and he has also been the vice-gerent of his father in various political, spiritual, and various other situations, and has also, in being loyal to his father, being the successor of the khanqa, the so-called house, Sufi house in Kashmir. Being the successor in Kashmir, his father has been establishing himself his khanqa in Lahore with the blessing of his murid Shah Jahan. The Shah Moeen-Ud-Deen Haddi Naqshband and the family of Hazrat Ishan were Mughal nobles. They were princes of the Mughal Empire, because Khwaja Hazrat Ishan was the Sufi master, the master of Akbar, the master of Jahangir, and the master of Shah Jahan. There were stories in which Akbar has desperately tried to have a son, but he then went to the Shah Hazrat Ishan and begged him, "Oh master, please pray for me that I can have a son who will then succeed myself as great Mughal, as Mughal Azam, as the emperor of the Mughal Empire." Then Hazrat Ishan has prayed, and then Jahangir came to the world. Jahangir knew that this was through this wali called Hazrat Ishan that he was blessed, and thus when Hazrat Ishan also went to Agra, the court of Jahangir, he was very popular, and Hazrat Jahangir radiallahu anhu has also promoted the right of Hazrat Ishan. Furthermore, Shah Jahan was very great disciple of his father's master Hazrat Ishan, and when there was a mob in Kashmir, a Shiite mob, a Rafidi mob against Hazrat Ishan, he has evacuated Hazrat Ishan and has brought Hazrat Ishan to Lahore. And in Lahore, Shah Jahan has built up a beautiful palace in the province called Begumpura, and there Hazrat Ishan has lived his last years and spreaded the Naqshbandi Sufi order. Hazrat Moeen-Ud-Deen Haddi Naqshband himself, he was an intellectual genius. His karamat mostly manifested as a mufassir, because he has written a tafsir in Farsi, and he has also issued many various books about the karamat of his father and various other responsibilities he had. So thus the karamat of Khwaja Moeen-Ud-Deen Haddi Naqshband, there was various karamat he also performed, has also been manifested over there. And there's one beautiful karamat which I also want to mention. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam once, he has sometimes predicted the coming of some of his descendants who will take care of the Muslim Ummah in some parts of the world. And he has said that one of his children will succeed him in Kashmir, and his name will be Moeen-Ud-Deen. And thus, even there was some stories that the Holy Spirit of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has even sometimes appeared in Kashmir to signify the great status of Hazrat Ishan and Khwaja Moeen-Ud-Deen Haddi Naqshband. And thus, the line goes on through the children of Khwaja Moeen-Ud-Deen Haddi Naqshband. Khwaja Moeen-Ud-Deen Hadi Naqshband's 3 children, Hazrat Jani, Sharifuddin, and Ziauddin, they all passed away, and thus his order, his successor, was his grandson in Kashmir, called Khwaja Nizamuddin. Khwaja Nizamuddin has taken over the Naqshbandi Sufi order in Kashmir, and it's through his line also that Sayyid Mirza Shah, the promised Messiah, will also arise, inshallah, and it had to be done with the blessings of Allah. And as you can see also right now in Lahore, next to Hazrat Ishan, Upper Sayyid Mirza Shah and Khwaja.